Hello everyone and welcome to my coloring corner. Today is Tips and Tricks Tuesday, and unlike the introduction video says, today is not about colored pencils. I know. I've already done a video on colored pencils. So today we are going to look at pointillism. This is a technique that I have recently learned from Emily Illustrator. I do believe that's her name. Um, uh, on her channel. If you don't watch Emily Illustrator, she does hers in a Joanna Bashford book, in the World of Wonders, on a fishy picture, and it is just so pretty. So I decided that I needed to try it. But she uses the Stedler fine markers, and I don't have those. I do have the Arteza Twi markers, or Twee markers, whichever way you want to call it, which is a water-based ink. It's blendable. It has a brush tip on one end and a fine tip on the other. So I have been practicing and playing. I did try a couple of different types of markers, and these ones seem to work the best. So this one here is done with a Tombow, the Tombow markers here, these ones. And this tip, although it says it's fine, is not fine enough. So it left quite a bit larger spots than this one here that I did with the Twi marker. So I've done this one with the Twi markers, this one with the Twi markers, and this one with the Twi markers, and this one here I did with the a little bit of everything, a little bit of Tombow, a little bit of zebra. I tried all different ones. So, but like I said, I have found that the Twi markers work the best, so that's what I've done the rest of them with. I'm going to switch you over to the close-up camera here so you can see a little bit better of what it is. And it's just little tiny dots that create the illusion to your eye that it's fully covered. So we're going to continue on with this one here. So I need to grab that pen, which is right here. So I think maybe not. Of course, I didn't write down any of these colors that I was using because that would have been smart. And I'm just not that smart. And I have a couple of different ones mixed in, like this one here. It's the exact same marker as the Twi markers. It's just a cheaper version of it. It's identical to the Twi markers though, like absolutely identical to it. So even, you know, the twin is there where the Arteza is, and just pretty much identical. So we're going to continue on with this one, and hopefully I've picked the same color. Yeah, okay. So you just put little dots. I'm doing the darker part first. Now, like I said, I have just learned this technique myself, so it is not going to be perfect. And the main objective when you're putting in your dots is that you don't draw a line. You know, do it randomly and just bring the dots down in the directions that you want your dark areas to go. You're not coloring in. Embrace the white, which I have a really hard time doing. And just bring your color, your darker colors closer together so that it fills the area a little bit more. Where your lighter colors, of course, you're going to have a larger space between so that you have a highlight. So once again, just going with this darker one. Of course, I'm using one that isn't a twi marker, so the color isn't listed on it. And I'm just putting in those little dots. And getting it. And it's quite relaxing. I found it a little bit stressful when I first started doing it because it was trying to get it to do what I wanted it to do. And once you get that learning curve over, that little learning bump of, okay, I don't want to make a line, I don't want to make a line, I don't want to make a line. Once you get past that part, it's pretty simple. My worst thing is, okay, I don't want huge gaps of white spot. But you got to remember that you're going to be putting in other colors which are going to fill in those huge gaps of white spot. The only thing you have to worry about doing at this point is making sure that your darkest areas have the darkest color. So those areas where you're going to have little shadows from the other flowers and where the flowers are bending is where you want to put those darker dots. And that's all it is just little dots, little tiny dots. Now I'm leaving more space in between these ones here because I still want that to be dark because it's a curve in the flower petal, but I don't want it to be so dark that it looks like it's completely bent over. It's just a slight curve in the flower. Where down here I want it to look really dark because that's where the shadow is. And like I said, I'm really new to this as well. This is definitely not something that I would normally do. However, I do use stippling when I'm coloring, and this is close to the same thing. However, stippling is done with a dark, like as a dark black shadowing technique. I don't use it a lot, but I have tried it. Same with hatching and that sort of thing. I'm not very good with it, so it's not something I do quite a bit. It is there and I do it, but it really is one of those things that I do more on practice basis of trying to figure out what I want that area to look like. Now this one here, it has that curve here as well. Oh, I'm not even on screen. Sorry guys. So this one here, it's got this curve here as well. So I want this to come down in almost a V shape. So that you can see that dark curve there. Okay, so there's our dark colors. And here I was dotting along, and it looks like I grabbed the wrong pen for the dark color, but that's okay. So now we're going to take our next color, which is also one that doesn't have a name. Did I grab only the ones that don't have names? So this is a pink. It looks like a hot pink color. And I'm just going to stipple out from the dark, leaving some gaps there. It's not a tight stipple, but it's not a really loose one here at this point either. And I'm just coming down from the shadow areas towards the center. Try to make sure that it's random, that you're not doing a pattern. Because if you try to do a pattern, it's going to look to the mind's eye like the pattern. So if you're trying to do it in lines, that's what your brain is going to see, is those lines. So make sure that you do it as randomly as possible so that you don't get that visual of a line or a zigzag or, that sort of thing. A curve. Hopefully I'm still on camera. Yes. So this one here, because it was covered by this flower and the rest of this flower, I've done a lot of it with this darker medium pink color. Now this one here, because it's not covered as much, I'm just going to come into it a little bit, and I'm going to space those out quite a bit more. Where down here I'm going to go a little bit tighter, but I'm just going to space that out. Where up here I'm going to go darker, bringing that shadow out a little bit. Like that. And I wasn't going to do a video about this, but somebody asked me if I had. So I figured I would, just for that person, so that she could see how I do it. Not that, I'm doing it any different or any better than anybody else, because I'm not. Like I said, I just learned this yesterday. Well, I just saw her do it the other day, and I thought, well, I'll give it a try sometime. And then last night she was doing more of it, and it's like, well, let's see if I can do that, because it looks really cool. So I decided that I would give it a shot. And it does. It looks so cool. But like I said, I have a thing about white spot. I don't like white spot. I like everything to be fully covered. So embracing the white spot is hard for me. And I know I have to with doing this. So it's actually good for me to do it so that I can learn to work within the boundaries of adding the white. See, this one here is completely open, so we're just going to come up from that darker area a little bit tighter. Down into that B area a little bit tighter. And then we're just going to go everywhere. Just little tiny, tiny dots. Try to make them open so that you're not too tight so that the next color will fit in. And try not to make them look like little dashes like I just did. This one I'm just actually going to go up into it because it's a little bit light up there. Just going to bring it up. Sticking tighter to each other down here at the bottom where that shadow is, and up in here. And then this open area, just random little dots. So the next one we're going to use is a lighter pink. And this one is a Twi marker, and this is called Bubblegum Pink. And I think I missed some. I didn't miss them, I just was not going to put them there, but I know if I don't, it's going to look funny. So put them in. Okay, so now we're going to use Bubblegum Pink, and we're just going to go in the center area here. With random open spaced bits. Just adding that lighter tone, that lighter color. Now another thing that I was going to try, and I'll try it on the inside there, is putting down a base color and then doing the pointillism on top. Pointillism on top and seeing how that looks as well. Like I said, this is just an experiment. This is not exactly perfection or professionalism or anything like that. Like I said, I have just started learning how to do this and figuring it out. So please don't take this as a professional video of this is how you do it. This is how I do it, and this is completely new to me. So it's definitely not a new technique, it's just new to me. Okay, so now we've got our reds and our pinks in there. We can brighten that up with a little bit of yellow. And again, just little dots. And we're just putting it in the center area here where that light is going to hit on the petals, because these are curved petals. Just trying to make sure that I do random little dots and embrace the white. Embrace the white. Because for me, that's really difficult. Alright. So I hope everybody's week has had a good start. So far, mine's going pretty good. Okay, so there's our added yellow. I think I added it to this part. There we go. So now what we're going to do is we're going to test if you can do this on top of a different a entire covered area. So I'm just going to put down a layer of the Tombow yellow here. And I'm not going to worry about it being perfect because we're going to fill in most of it with the Pointillism. So I just want to see how it looks without the white behind it if it changes with having a solid color behind it. Okay, so we've added the yellow. So now we're going to do our oranges and browns for this area. So I'm going to take this one here, I think. Yeah. This one is called Wine Stain. And it's going to be my darkest color. The one thing I was worried about with doing this is because both are a water-based product is things bleeding. So we will see if that happens. And account for it again next time if it does do that. So I'm doing this in a tight little spotting in the areas that I want the darkest. So it's just random little spots, little taps. Tap, 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 tap. Tap, 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 tap. I know, how boring, right? But I can definitely see how it's, for people that use the dot markers and do the dot things, how it can definitely be relaxing. My brain wants to to just color and put down as much color as possible as quickly as possible. So this is a huge control lesson for me on controlling my hand, controlling my brain to slow down, take a look at where the dots are going and continue them without making it too uniform. That's another problem is if you make it too uniform, it doesn't look right. Okay, so the next one we're going to use is Raw Umber. This is also a toy marker. And once again, we're just going to add the little dots. but I thought it was interesting on how it worked and how it looked. And it seems to be going on top of this yellow okay. It's not bleeding from what I can see. Maybe a little bit. I think there's a bit of bleed there. So that or else I'm doing things on an angle and causing little lines, which is also possible. So you have to be careful. Make sure that you're using a very, very fine tipped pen, and watch where your tip is going, like watch where your dot is coming from. If you're using a Staedtler fine liner, you may be able to do it just by tapping on the side. With these twi markers, the ink comes out on the tip, and the more pressure that you put on the tip, the more ink that comes out. So if you're going from the side, you're getting that whole side worth of ink down instead of just the tips ink. So you end up with little dashes instead of little dots, and that's not the purpose. And it just won't look right. So as you can see here on this one here, it looks like little dashes instead of little dots, which is not what we wanted, but that's okay. Now this one here is biscotti brown, which is a light medium brown. It's more of a pale brown, but it blends in with the other browns quite well. And this one I'm doing a little more random and a little wider stance. Letting that yellow show through. Just make sure that you're careful and that you're lifting your tip off the paper. Otherwise, you're going to end up just giving yourself lines to work with. That one there, I had to put a little bit more in to fix the dashes, but that's okay. Okay, then we're going to take our yellow, and this one is lemon yellow. And I know we've got the yellow base, but just for a little bit of brightness, we're just going to tap in a little bit of this lemon yellow. Okay. Now for the center area here, we want to go with, I think we're going to go with a little bit of the pink just for these little tiny areas here. Just because I don't have any black out. this one. You can put down your dark first or your light first. It's up to you. Most people put the dark down first so they can see where to build the light from. I messed up and put it down second. Alright, now for the inside of the flower, we're going to start with orange. And that's not as dark as I wanted it to be, so that's alright. We'll work with it. And I need, where is it? Is it this one? Nope, that's ballerina pink. Thought I had a darker orange out. Maybe this is my darker orange. Okay. Okay. It's fine. So this is my darker orange. So I think with the overhead lamp on, it looks a lot lighter than it did when I did the other flower. So then we're going to grab this one, which is bright orange. So it's got more yellow in it. And then we're going to grab this one, which is cantaloupe orange. Which has got a lot more yellow in it. And there we have it. So that, my friends, let's see, I'll put you over on the main, is what we just accomplished. So I will continue working on these. So basically all you're doing with pointillism is putting in little dots. You're not coloring, you're not covering. You're just putting in little dots. It did work well with a covering with a light color and then doing the pointillism on top. However, you're not getting as much of a highlight like this one here, where I've done the pointillism, but I put the yellows in that in as pointillism. There's a lot of white spot in there, which is giving that the highlight that I wanted. Yeah, so that is what I have been working on. I hope you have enjoyed the video, and I hope that I have inspired you to try something new. If not pointillism, something else. This is 100% new to me. I have never done this before. So, picked up the pens last night and was playing around, and I figured I'd share with you what I've been playing with. So hopefully you are inspired and decide to grab some pens, sit down with a picture, and just do little taps. Or, anything else that you decide that you want to do, but are a little bit leery of giving it a try. That's pretty much all I'm here for, is just to enable you, and completely enable you. So just get on the train. I'm kidding, of course. Well, guys, thank you all very much for watching. I hope you have enjoyed this video, and I hope you enjoyed the skin tone video previously. Thank you so much for watching. Remember to like, comment, and subscribe. Hit that subscription button if you haven't already subscribed to the channel and enjoy the content Of course, you can always support the channel by hitting the join button, which will give you information on memberships. Of Also, if you want to join us over on Facebook, you are definitely welcome to do so. Just please fill out the application form. Unfortunately, we don't accept anyone that doesn't fill that application form out. So make sure that you fill it out so that we can get you into the group as quickly as possible. Other than that, guys, remember to relax, color, and stay safe. Have a fantastic day, everyone, and we will see you tomorrow for Work in Progress Wednesday. All right, then. Bye bye for now.